Alright, New York Code Rules and Regulation, Part 255, Title 16, Department of Public Service, Chapter 3, Gas Utilities, Part C, Safety, Part 255, Transmission Distribution Systems, 255, over repealed, General. It's mostly been repealed. Scope. This proper prescribes the minimum safety requirement of the design, fabrication, installation, inspection, testing, operation, maintenance of the gas transmission for the distribution system, including the gathering lines, gas pipelines, gas compressor station, gas metering regulation station, gas manufacturer with the line with the gas storage equipment, a closed pipe type with the fabricated with the forged pipe with the fabricated with the pipe fitting with the gas storage line with not covered in Title 49-192. Every person engaged with the transportation gas fee with the pipeline with the state with the New York should comply with the rules set forth with this part of the part is paid for the line included with the many of the requirement of the Title 49 CFR Part 192 with the Department of Transportation regulate for the transportation natural of the gas pipeline minimum federal safety standard. The rules regulations expressed apply with this part me except for the minimum federal safety standards of each part that do not apply with the design, fabrication, pressure valve covered with the ASME boiler pressure vessel covered with the piping metal temperature above 450 degrees Fahrenheit below minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Design, fabrication, installation above the ground with the include inside piping the plants if the beyond the outline. I'll live with the customer met set of the assembly to refer to part of the 261 National Fire Protection Association 54 piping all over finally natural gas extraction plant plants with gas stream of the plant piping together main gas steam pipe with the dehydration all other processing plants installed with a part of the gas transmission system, gas manufacturing plants, industrial plants or mines, vent piping to the operated substantial atmospheric pressure, waste gas at any time, well with head assembly include with the trap separators, heaters, control valve with the flow lines less than 100 foot in length between the welded head, the trap separated with the casing, the tube, the gas or oil wells, flow lines greater than 100 feet with the length between the well held, the trap with the separated with the conservative with the gathering line. 7 priority items, equipment, apparatus, instrument, heat exchange with the liquid petroleum, transportation pipeline, prefabricated unit with the employed plate, longitudinal weld of constructed pipeline, any pipeline transportation, only pipe drawing, petroleum gas, petroleum gear, air, mixtures less fewer than 10 customers, no portion on the system is located in public place, single customer with the system located entirely with the customer's premises. Sorry. 252 will be retroactive except for the otherwise indicated the part will not apply with the retroactive with existing installation insofar as the design, destruction, installation, testing with concern. However, all the provision for the part will be applicable to recertification, upgrading with the reconstruction, recertification, upgrading specifically subject to the provisions sections 255, 552, and through 255, 557 as part of the existing installation conform with the requirements of part predecessor for the effect of the time of installation provision with the part or applicable to the operation maintenance of the existing new installation. 253.3, the definition, you within this problem with the band mean with the permanent roof, the serve of the abnormal operating condition, the means of the condition, and identified with the operator that may include with the malfunction component, deviation, normal operation, indicate with the condition, see with the design limit, the result of the head of the person, property with the environment, the act of the corrosion, means of the continuing corrosion, unless the control could result of the condition with the detrimental public safety alarm, means of the audible visible means, indicating with the control of the equipment, the process with the outside of the operator with the defined safety related property with the proof of the meaning of the prior to approval that must be granted with the department except for the emergency situation building of the public assembly, meaning with the school, hospital, the nursing area of the institution, life of the New York State, with the care of the children, any other factory with which is normally employed with a 75 or more person of the building of the nominal capacity of 75 or more person to which public is regularly admitted with the structure with which with it solely with the office building residential apartment that normally have no other utilization except for the 75% limit exclusive with the definition control room means with the operating Racing stand with the staff of the personally charged with the responsible remotely monitoring with the controlling of the pipeline facility with the control of the meeting with the qualified individual with remote control with the control of the safety related operations with the pipeline facility Viva SCADA system from the control room of the operation of authority with the account with the remote operation function of the pipeline facility. You're covered to have all the activities identified with the operator perform pipeline facility with the operation for the maintenance tasks are performed the requirements of this part effective for the operation and integrity of the pipeline customer meter meaning for the meter measure for the transfer of the gas the operator consumer with the department from this part with the department shall mean with the Department of Public Service with the Office of Gas and Water of the Pipeline Safety Section, Section 3 in prior state with the Bill Plaza of the Albany with the New York distribution line with the pipeline other than gathering transmission line with a selective survey means with the sensitivity shear with the close space pipe to soil readings over the pipeline which is subsequently analyzed with identifying location from the corrosive current Alien is leaving the pipeline evaluation with the meaning of the process established with the documentation of water to determine the individual's ability to perform the covered task. Any of the following: written examination, oral examination, work performance history, review of the observation during the period for performance of the job on the job during the simulation of the type forms of assessment, excessive flow valve, the meaning of the device itself, with the near with the surface of the T with the gas for the flowing of the downstream of the vent with the failure, the surface between the T and the meter with the gas flow through the device, exceed with the design rating, the valve automatically closing, stop with a major portion of the gas flow with the field regulator, the meaning of the pressure regulating device for the outlet pressure for the balance per square inch, serving 2 to 10 residential gas customer. For this regulator is known as the farm tap regulator. For the follow-up inspection means of an inspector performed an outside leak repair procedure complete in order to determine the effectiveness of the repair, include with the retest of the pipe with the inside leak indication, outside ring the original classification gas, mean with the natural gas or other fuel, will include liquid petroleum gas dispersed as vapor gas or toxic corrosive gathering line means of the pipeline with the transport of the gas for the current production in the facility with the transmission line main and directly with the end user. High pressure distribution system, meaning with the distribution system and gas pressure for the main with the must be reduced before delivery of the customer. Hoop strap means with the stress of the pipe while with the acting circumferential with the plane with the perpendicular longitudinal axis with the pipe with the produced pipe with the pressure of the fluid pipe. Hot tap means the branch pipe connection with the operating pipeline with the other facility under gas pressure leakage investigation means a survey and conduct for the purpose of the determining the extent of the potential head of the classifying of the leak with accordance with the section 255-807 of this part involved with driving or boring of the hole sufficient depth of testing of the atmosphere in these holes with the other available opening for the property calibrated combustible with the gas indicator with the with equivalent device. 24 leakage survey meaning with the systematic survey with the main purpose of locating the leak with the gas piping systems improved with the instrumentality continues to analyze the atmospheric sample near ground level capable of detecting the presence of the gas in parts per million. List of the specification meaning the specification set forth in section 1 appendix 14b title long-term hydrostatic testing means with this estimated hoop strength of the plastic pipe with the wall with the wall that will cause failure of the pipe that average about 100,000 hours. Subject constant hydrostatic pressure low. Pressure distribution system meaning with the distribution system for the gas pressure for the mainly substantial with the same with the pressure provided with the typical customer. Main means the distribution line with the trip of the common source of the supply with the more than one surface line with the master meter system means with the pipeline system distribution gas by limited definable area with the mobile home park. Proposing project with the department complex with the operator purchase with the meter for the gas for the outside of the store for the release the restate with the gas for the distribution pipeline system for the gas distribution pipeline system and ultimately customer for the purchase of gas directly with the meter with other means type of the rent maximal actual operating pressure means with the pressure for the Nycrr for the system during the normal operation over the period of 1 year. Maximum operating pressure means maximum pressure of the pipeline for the pipeline operated within this part. Maximum certified operating pressure means the maximum pressure of the pipe may be operated certified with the original filing under section 253.302b with the prior predecessor rule for thereof the modified in accordance with section 255.611 of the part municipality means the city county with the public subdivision New York State operator means person engaged in the transportation of the gas. The person means with the individual firm with the joint venture of the partnership with cooperation association, state municipality, cooperative association, joint stock association, including trustee, receiver, the designer, and personal representative thereof the pipe means any pipe and tube with the transport gas pipeline means all of the part of the physical facilities for the gas transported, including pipe with the valve, the appurtenance for the attached for the pipe with the compressor for the metering station, regular station, delivery station, holders, fabricated assembly pipeline, environmental includes the soil resistivity, high and low, soil, moisture, wet or dry, soil contaminants for that may promote corrosive activity, other known with the condition that could affect with the protective of the active corrosion. Pipeline facility means with the new existing pipeline right away with any with equipment facility with the building of the transportation gap for the treatment of the gas during the course of the transportation. Plastic means the material containing the essential ingredient, one or more organic polymeric substance with a large molecular weight, solid that furnished with some state of the manufacturing process for the shipping flow. Two general type of the plastic referred to part of the thermoplastic thermo setting qualified means with the individual that has been evaluated to perform assigned with the covered task recognize the reactive abnormal condition. You're reading many of the substantiate the deviation properly calibrated combustible gas indicator prove the equivalent instrument to take within the sample the point of the correct within the lower exposed to the limit of the percent of the gas area with the secondary stress of the main stress created with the pipe or the wall with the loads with the other internal fluid pressure for example the backfill load of the track for the closed beam action into the span loads as support connection of the pipe, surface mainline mean with the pipe to include with the associated mean with the pressure reducing appurtenancy, transportation gas flow of the grade with the main with the transmission outlet with the customer part, meter connection, customer piping, whichever is downstream with the meter located with the building's meter is located outside of the building. Service line deemed to terminate with the outside of the building filtration wall. Serve as a regulator, meaning the device on the surface line with the control for the pressure for the gas, delivered for the high pressure for the pressure for the provided by the customer, with the serve of the regulator, may serve the one customer, multiple customer through a meter header with a manifold. SYSMYS specified minimum yield strength of the tub, meaning the surface line with the terminated before the property line supervisor. Control and data acquisition system, meaning the computer-based system you with the control of that room, with the collect, with the display, with the information pipeline facility that may have the ability to send commands back to the pipeline facility, thermoplastic, meaning the plastic capable of being repeatedly softened and decrease the temperature, hardened by the decrease of the temperature of thermostatic plastic, means the plastic capable of being changed into the substantially infusible, insoluble product with the cure of the application of the heat of the chemicals. Transmission line with the means of the pipeline other than gathering line, the transport gas gathering line, storage facility with the distribution center of the storage facility, direct large volume, not downstream of the distribution center, operates a hoop stress of 20% of the system, specified minimum yield strength, or transport gas fluid storage field. Note, large volume customer may receive similar volume of gas distribution center, including the factory, power plant, international, institutional user gas. Transportation gas for the gathering, transmission, distribution gas, pipeline storage gas with a weak link for the meaning of the device will pulling polyethanol piping, typically through the midst of the horizontal direct drilling to ensure the damage will not occur with the pipeline seen with the minimum tensile strength allowed. A welder means a person who has performance manual or semi-automatic welding. Welding operator means the person who operated the machine automatic welding equipment. And that was 255. Alright, 255.4, notification reports. Unless otherwise indicated the partial mention for the any of the notification program of the letter with the intent of the procedure written until the following report is required any of the provision of this part shall be to the department. Alright, 255, class notate location. Except for the provided paragraph of the D2 and the E2 with the section of the class location determine the number of the buildings and 10 with the human occupancy of the class location unit. Class location unit is an area with the extent of the 220 yards on either side of the channel line with the continuous 1 mile with the length of the pipeline. For the purpose of the section, each separate dwelling unit with a multiple dwelling building counted with a separate building and 10 with the human occupancy class 1 location. Any class location that until it has 10 or few buildings and 10 with the human occupancy class 2 location. Class location has until more than 10 but fewer than 46 buildings, 10 with the human occupancy, class 3 location, any class location, until that has 46 or more buildings and 10 with the unit occupancy, area with the pipeline with the west and the lie, 100 yards of either building or the small with the well defined outside of the area with the occupied with 20 or more of the person not during the normal use, such as playground, recreational, outdoor theater with the other public assembly, class 4 location, any with location, until that has 100 or more buildings and 10 with the human occupancy, where with the wall of pavement and prevalent with any class location buildings or 4 or more stored with above ground prevalent. Boundaries of the class location determined according to the subdivision A through E with the section may be extended through the following where the cluster is a building and 10 with the human occupancy, otherwise class 2, 3, or 4 location. Class location units of 220 yards from the nearest building in this cluster. For the number of the buildings 4 or more stories with the class 4 location, class location 220 yards from the nearest building of 4 or more stories. Alright, 255.6 repealed and 255.7 incorporation by reference. 255.7 incorporation by reference. Any documents of part of it incorporated with the reference with this part of the regulation set forth in full there herein. All incorporated documents available in the inspection of the department in addition to the documents available with the drive of the provided in section 10.3 with the tab with the full titles of the publication incorporated with the reference part of the provided with the section 10.3 with the title with the numbers of the parentheses indicated with the applicable the error edition with each of the edition of the documentation listed edition documents formally listed with the material of the component elements of the manufacturer's design installed with the corner with those either the editions at the time were listed some standing with the specifications appendix 14A and 14B with the title with the supplement with the specific requirements elsewhere part of the use this part avoid against the attempting the direct application A with the standards will carefully observe the parts of the reference to the standard. Alright, gathering lines. Gathering lines, 255.9, gathering lines. Except for the specified subdivision B with the section each gathering shall be designed with constructed, tested, operated, maintained, and specified with the subdivision 5 of the gathering lines of any of the portion thereof located in the following area shall be designed, constructed, tested, operated, maintained in accordance with the provision of the part applicable shield transmission line within the 150 feet of the residence of the public place assembly with the limits of any city with the incorporated village with a designated residential, commercial, each area with the serve of the subdivision, business, shopping center, of the community development, the private, the serve of the construction, any of the gathering line notification complying with the following paragraphs should be filled at least 30 days prior to the start of the construction gathering line intent with the operator with a pressure of 125 psi gauge or more. Notice must be letter of intent report specifications similar to the format appendix 7 G with its style with at least 48 hours prior to the start of the construction of the gathering line intent with the operator with a pressure of 125 degrees. Notice this to be the letter of the intent given with the company name, address, specific location, intended construction. 3. Any person intended with the construction of the gathering line area for the commercial farm purpose with at least 2 to 5 years, regardless of the proposed operating pressure for the must complete with the information appendix 7G and 7GA. I'll provide one over the copy for the 7G and 7GA with the title of the effective of the in-farm land operated with local county soil water conservation district with the 48 hours advance for the start of the construction. The person shall copy with the appendix 7G and 7GA with the title of review of the interested party of the future, and that was taken with the provision problem with the natural gas out of the petroleum from production line with the facilities transport off for the property with the production facility located sold directly in the user shall apply. Portion of pipeline downstream with an addition with the gas engine for the pipeline with the facility with the gas line with a single production for the downstream with the part of the pipeline structure with the public right of way with adjacent to the right of way with the transmission line with the operator with the hoop strength of 20% with the Morris system yielded strength with otherwise distribution. The transmission and the distribution shall fully comply with the applicable requirements of contained in part such line within case of the transport directively of the production facility sold with a single engine for the portion of the pipeline downstream and off the end of the use of the property line surface line comply with the applicable requirements contained with this part. Any person with attend with the transport subject for the production to file with the facility director NG for the report shall attend with the notification report subdivision C of this section. Any person with the gathering line with regardless of the pipeline material with the originally constructed with the operating with the pressure of 125 psi for the purpose of increasing the operating pressure with 125 psi or more comply with the requirement section 255.5, 55.2, 55.3, and 55.5. And with this part of the gathering, except for the specified subdivision of the section shall be designed with the truck tested operated with maintained considered with the sound engineering practical including the following criteria. All joints shall be visually inspected with the defects and shall have the neat workman-like and appearance with the qualified welded plastic joint shall be employed. So the refined paragraph 3 of the subdivision, all pipes shall be installed with a minimum of 24 inches for the cover of the solid rock with the counter with the minimum cover and reduce with the 12 inches for the area with the subject for the erosion location, future grading like such if the road, highway, railroad, and grid ditch crossing additional protections provided. 3. Notwithstanding with the paragraph 2 of the subdivision area of the actively cultivated with the commercial farm with at least 2 of the 1 out of 5 last 5 years identified with the farmland operator pipeline installed with a minimum of 40 inches of cover of the farm operator shall be designated with the substantial support land with the not under activity cultivation but subject to the land may spend practice with the unlimited drain soil erosion control system. The farmer operator must be at least 40 inches over the cover of the lakes conform with the normal aggregated practice with include land with the fitting with a particular agricultural engineering project with the taken into account with the recommended practice stand with the United States Department of Agricultural Soil Conservation Service with the with the National Handbook with the Conservation Practice and National Engineering Manual. Farmland operator may require the depth of the car greater than 40 inches for the addition of the permitting of the right of way of the crop of his or her land with the necessary with the safely accommodate his such purpose for the practice for the projects. 4. Either gathering line must be protected with the washout fluid, unstable soil with the landslide of the other head that may cover the pipeline to be exposed with the move of the sustained abnormal load. Suitable conduct of the wire shall be inspected with the plastic pipe with the facility locating electronic pipe locator. Other approved suitable material with the meaning that might be employed with accomplishing the purpose. Maximum operating pressure for the plastic pipeline with determined in accordance with the formula of section 255.121 with the part of the subject limitation 255.123b through d of this part. 7. All delirious defect of the gouge of the dent of the grooves shall be limited prior to testing. The pipeline shall be determined with the minimum pressure test 100 psi, whichever is greater than 204 hours for the maximum pressure for the plastic pipe with more than 3 times the design pressure of the pipe. Where the reservoir pressure is less than the least of the pressure for the reservoir pressure may be the test pressure for the test medium shall be the air in the air, gather or water. Other approved medium may be regardless of the installation pump the pipeline complying with any requirement of 255.707 DE. The part shown stuff with an inch for the crossing of public road, railroad, navigable water, wherever the necessary identifiable goes for the gathering line to reduce the possibility of the damage and interference. Areas G within the commercial farm shall be provided with at least 2 to 5 years. The pipeline marker was installed at the points adequately identify the location, direction, and pipeline. Such location points shall be determined. The constellation of the farm operator maps shall be prepared with the documentation location of the line with critical valves. The pipeline should be patrolled by minimum every 2 years. The washout with the other hazard location, including check area of the population and development change. Line should be surveyed in leakage at least once every 5 years. The adequacy of overpressure protection device shall be verified annually to ensure the safety of the operating line. With the abandoned gathering system, all sources of the gas shall be disconnected from system purged with the inert gas with the ends sealed. Sufficient documentation shall be maintained to demonstrate compliance with these regulations. It's 255.9. Gathering lines. Alright, 255.11, the Petroleum Gas Systems. Each plant supplied with petroleum gas by pipeline with the National Gas Distribution System must meet the requirements of this part of the National Fabricants Association 58 and 59, with described in Section 10.3 with the title. Each pipeline system part transports only petroleum gas, petroleum air gas mixtures must meet with the National Fabricants Association 58 and 59, described in Section 10.3 with the title. In an event with the confliction with the Department of the National 58 and National Fire Protection Association 58 and 59, National Fire Protection 58 and 59 prevails. Alright, 255.13 General. The rules, regulations of the park concern for the adequate safety unit with the condition normal income with the gas engine for the half of the reach rule of the regulations cannot be specifically approved with all of the abnormal or unusual conditions they normally specify with the detail of the method achieved with the compliant with the approved with the alternate with the method that you provide with the work performance scope of the part shall meet with exceeds safety changes correct with implied herein and applying with the part of the operators you with the method that is responsible for the property and anticipate with the operating conditions can reasonably expect with the provided level of the safety equivalent or greater than that which result of the following generally accept the same with the gas and gas piping technology community guide with the gas transmission distribution piping system is expected where in conflict with the provision part of the representative level of the practice. C. A waiver. The waiver of the deviation from the application A with the rules of this part and indicate whether because of the special facts the application may be made with the public service commission waiver the deviation of the rules regulation of this part. Each request shall include the full comprehensive justification shall be required for the waiver of the deviation together with the proposed alternate rule that be considered the application of the condition required with the waiver of the deviation. As far as concerned safety of the general public to employ with safety extent with the effective of the basic design quality with the material of the workmanship with the requirements of the testing maintenance gas transmission distribution facility and existing industrial safety regulations pertaining to the work area, safety devices, and safe work practices are intended and supplanted by this part. Alright, 255.14 Conservation of Service Objects of this part of the steel pipeline brief with the other natural gas with the qualified for you with the part of the operator of the player of the file with the written procedure with the care of the following requirements. Design construction operation maintenance of the history of the pipeline must review with the insufficient historical of the records and not available the appropriate with the staff must be performed to determine the pipeline satisfactory condition and safe operation. 2. The pipeline right away with the above ground segments of the pipeline appropriate with the select of the underground segment of the managed to be visually inspect with the physically with the defect with the operation condition reasonably conducted. It would be expected to impair with the strength of the tightness of the pipeline all known unsafe device conditions must be corrected in accordance with the part. 4. The pipeline must be tested in accordance with section 255.503 through 255.517 that is substantiated with the maximum level of operating pressure permitted by this part. Each operator must keep the life of the pipeline with the recorded investigation, testing, repair, replacements, alteration made under the requirements of the subdivision A of this section, and C. An operator with converting in a pipeline through the surface not previously covered by this part of the Department of Intent of the conversion surface of the 60 days prior to the conversion occurs with the PHMSA required in Title 49 Part 191.22. Alright, rules and regulatory construction. 255.15 regulatory rules of regulatory construction. A. Use of this part includes meaning include but not limited means permitted by the authorized may or not means not permitted but not authorized to and then shall use the mandatory imperative of the tense. In this part of the words indicate singular include with the plural. Words include with the plural include the singular and words including masculinity and gender include feminine. Alright, preservation of records, 255.17, preservation records, notwithstanding requirements of the Part 293 and 293 and 733 of the title, minimum period of retention records required with the partial to at least 3 years with a long period of the retention mandated with the 255.517 with the Part 293 733 of the title with a longer period of the retention will reflect with the line with the inspection compliant with the cycle of the part required. All records obtained with the pipeline designated to operate at 125 psi gauge or more shall be kept with the file with the reserve of the pipeline only retained as long as the line remains in service. All records and copies there shall be kept in the file with the shape of the Nycrr accessible with the Department of Public Service. And the rest of it has been repealed. So this was General 255-1. Let me see materials where that goes. 255-1.